it just took like me learning myself more, which I am still am learning today. Like, I don't think you can 100% learn, like you can 100% know about you. Like as life, you learn, you grow and learn.
The Chronic Truth Podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed by our guests are their personal opinions and do not constitute medical advice. While we share experiences and strategies related to health, neither the host nor the guest are acting as licensed medical professionals unless explicitly stated. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your treatment plan. Listeners assume all risks associated with implementing any information discussed on this show.
Today's guest is Allany Muniz, creator of Diary of an Epileptic, a platform she started in November of 2020 to share her journey living with epilepsy and to raise awareness about the physical and mental aspects of the condition. What began as a creative outlet during recovery has evolved into a meaningful mission to inspire others and break that silence around epilepsy. Allany's story is one of resilience, rediscovery, and turning life's challenges into purpose. I want to welcome you, Allany. This is very important. This is one of the very first Epilepsy Awareness Month recordings, and I've never had a patient with epilepsy on my platform here, so this is really special for me. So welcome.
I thank you so much for letting me have the opportunity to speak on your podcast.
This is great.
And to be the first person with epilepsy on here. That's such an honor too.
Yes, this is great. This is great. Share with the listeners a little bit about your story and what epilepsy is.
So I'll start with epilepsy. It's a neurological disorder that is pretty much abnormal activity in the brain. It can vary from like a few seconds to like several minutes. And my journey started when I was 14 going on like a week before freshman year of high school. I never really knew, like I understood what seizures were because of a family friend. They would have tonic-clonic seizures but I didn't like really, I just knew they had it and they didn't really go too much into it. So when I had the first seizure at the school, I got blacked out. I had no idea what happened. So when the doctor was saying epilepsy, I was just like, huh? And my poor mother, like she's just trying to make sure her child's okay. And she's just as confused as I am. So by the second doctor visit, they explained more what it was and like what will happen and what will occur. And that slowly started, like that was the beginnings. And I had and then, the trials and errors is very common in the epilepsy community, like either as a new goer or if someone who's had it for years, like especially with like taking medications, doses, just seeing which works for you. The vulnerability part of this journey started in 2019, actually. So it took a couple of years before I got comfortable enough to talk. Like I'm still not completely comfortable with it, but I got to the point where like I can't be alone in this. Like this creative outlet just needed to come out and became like my own therapeutic method to cope with epilepsy and to get a better understanding.
When you were first diagnosed, you said you were coming into your 15 and such. What a scary time to be diagnosed with anything, but let alone that. How did that affect like going to school and your activities surrounding school?
Definitely increase in anxiety. Like I didn't really tell a lot of people because people around me had no idea what epilepsy was. But of course, seizures have a surprise on you. So to make it more fun, to make it more like, I end up so I tried out for the basketball team, the high school basketball team. And during that tryout, I ended up having a seizure. So it's just like, oh, there it is. Here it is for the whole world to tell, and I don't want to tell nobody yet. So after the hospital stay, I ended up being known as the seizure girl throughout high school. So that was just stamped on me. So like that. So it did take a lot of like my identity at the time, like severe depression, like trying to mask that. And upon like other upon like other traumas going on at the time. It was just like, I remember my high school years, but a lot of it is just so like either suppressed or just like because of everything, like I don't remember it.
Right. You were trying to protect yourself. How was your classmates around you? Were you more stigmatized because of it? I mean, obviously you were labeled, but did you have any negative feedback towards you having this?
Not to my face, but I probably assumed they were talking about it behind my back. Like, I remember when I was coming back from the hospital, everyone's like, oh my God, you had a seizure. Oh my God, are you okay? And then this one girl, I think she meant well, but when she was telling me that her dog was having seizures, I'm like, you're comparing me to a dog. Thank you.
You're
Like,
like, no,
that
no,
just
no.
totally helped my confidence.
You're like,
Thank you
that's
so
not the
much.
same thing.
Two different species now.
Yep,
Two different
species. Take us back when the Diary of an Epileptic began. What inspired you to turn your personal experience into something that's become so public?
So actually, while I started the YouTube channel in 2020, the vision for it was back in 2019, and I I might be sent to a psychiatric hospital after this. But like I just had like these visions in my head, like these like picturing myself in like some spotlight or like right now, like in an interview, like kept having these like imaginative conversations in my head, and the name just kept popping up, just kept popping up, kept popping up. I don't know why. And then early November 2020, when I fractured my ankle, I was bed rested for a while. So it came a lot more. And I'm like, okay, let me like do something so I'm not stuck in this bed all the time. Like, so I don't go completely like loony. So that's what actually got me motivated. That's actually the motivator that finally got me to do the videos. Like my first few videos, I was still on anesthesia. So I don't think I sound the most sober person in those first few videos.
Under the influence. I'm glad we can laugh. This is supposed to be a fun, light topic too, not so, straightly serious. I mean, it's a serious condition. Do not, and the listeners are going to be lashing out at me. I'm not making fun of this by any means.
Very serious.
I'm making light of when you're going through something so serious that you have a little fun with it too.
See, dark humor. I think, like, I like comedy. So dark humor, that's how, like, I feel like it's a coping copeism because it just, like, that safe armor. But also, like, you have to laugh at that. Like, it can't, like, I think that's also the problem. Like, epilepsy is so stigmatized as this negative thing. Like, yes, it does affect your life, but yet it does, like, heal you in a way. And you find more humor in things in life that you would never thought would be funny before.
Very good. You've spoken about how epilepsy affects both your physical and mental health. What has been the biggest mental hurdle that you've faced?
Severe depression, like you go down a rabbit hole of like, why can I not be normal? Or like, why did this happen to me? And then along with the increased anxiety, especially in public, you're wondering when I'm going to have a seizure, especially if you're around people who have no idea what seizure first aid is, or you have no idea what seizures are. And while that vulnerability you can tell people, unfortunately, people are not always the nicest people either, especially me working in retail. And if anyone who's ever worked in retail, even fast food, knows that like people put a persona.
Yeah.
And that anxiety of like, okay, I can tell this person, but how do I know this other person's not going to tell this other person and say lies or make up something else?
Yeah.
So that,
or add to the story.
This day, yeah. To add to the story, like to this day, like I still get depression and anxiety. Like it's, unfortunately, it's just one of those things that are always going to occur in life because of the epilepsy. But for me, it was just, over time, I've learned like, okay, block the noise of other people. Like you can tell people like, that will be responsible with the information. Like at my job, the HR person knows, the front end person knows. So if anything were to occur, they are aware of my situation.
And that's good for your safety. That way you're protected, and if something does arise, they're able to help you or seek help for you. You mentioned that content creation helped quiet the voices in your head and kept you grounded. How has sharing your story online shaped your healing and sense of purpose?
It made me become more vulnerable with myself. Like for me, like I didn't really cry a lot as a kid because of everything that was going on. So as I started this, like the vulnerability came, like the emotions came along with it, all those suppressed emotions that like when I was younger, I really didn't like learn any emotion regulation skills. With so it just took like me learning myself more, which I am still am learning today. Like I don't think you could 100% learn, like you can 100% know about you. Like as
Right.
life, you learn, you grow and learn. So to this day, it's that, and then as well as just like being more vocal with myself and standing up more for myself, especially who can help you more than you can.
Exactly.
I was like that.
Yep.
And then confidence too, because it's like more I talk about it, like the more like I like a weight off your shoulders sometimes. Like you already have, there's already so much going on. So for me, like it's it's like one less baggage claim, I should say.
Right. 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 And
My little
I think the
suitcase.
more you tend to share your story with others, you somehow accept it more. I mean, it's like levels of acceptance.
Yes, that. And then as well as I know I'm like I know there's someone out there who's felt the way, the shame, the guilt, the I don't want to bother people with it. Like I know no one's gonna understand it anyway. So that was also another motivator to start it along with my healing journey. Cause I know I'm helping someone, whether they would verbally say it or like however, like if I can help that one person go through this, like that's enough for me.
Yep. What does your treatment plan look like right now?
So right now I take 250 milligrams of Legmigen twice a day and then folic acid as well once a day. I've been fortunate enough where I don't have to go to the neurologist or hepatologist like uh, like frequently. Like I can able to go like every few months or up to a year.
Good.
So I will say like as my journey looks like a little well, where am I? Doesn't look as complicated as others. Like epilepsy itself, like it affects everyone differently. Like for me, someone have a normal life and no one would know unless I told them versus other people who unfortunately the stigma is like right away and don't get that chance to like explain themselves or they're always assumed with the epilepsy. So for me, like that's another thing. Like I want to let people know like epilepsy happens to people in every different ways. Like everyone handles it differently. Everyone's persona and like aurora and like mental stability may not always mental stability for everyone is not always there.
Yeah.
But like it's important to understand others, especially with everything going on. Like as humanity, like we were like our purpose is to connect with others, to understand others. So when I say all this, like with me, that doesn't mean like the same person has my experience. Like being like opening yourself up to to knowing that look, you might not even know I had epilepsy until I talked about it.
Right.
Doesn't so don't always assume like, oh, nothing's wrong with that. Like they're always saying that disabilities, like all disabilities are invisible, especially if you're neurodivergent on top of the epilepsy trying to survive in a neurotypical world.
You are helping a younger generation that are newly diagnosed. What type of platforms do you offer?
For me, I have the YouTube channel, Diary of an Epileptic. I have TikTok, Diary of an Epileptic with just without the C at the end. Same with Lemonhead. Instagram is Diary OA Epileptic. And then as well, like people have DM'd me before. Like I have no problem answering direct messages. Like if you don't want to punt that advice out there for people to know if like and then for me, it's amazing that I can hopefully inspire a new generation, but I want people to know, like, I'm not the perfect role model. Like, I'm not the perfect role model, and I think I say that also is to show that, yeah, I'm vocal about an advocate, but I'm not perfect, and it's okay to be imperfect.
That's beautiful. That is so true with any chronic condition. You're putting a face to it. and you're putting a life and a voice to your condition. And by no means does that mean that you are, perfect or that your life is perfect, but you have managed a way to have this condition and live with it and thrive with it and now be an advocate for it.
And it's still like this. It's been 5 years. And I feel like it's also a sad thing. Like people have gotten stories that I feel like within like the chronic illness community, like a lot of our content should be in the main algorithm, but unfortunately, algorithm, all that are
kicks us out.
other topic different, yeah, other topic different day, like all that plays a part. So for a lot of us, like I think that's why a lot of people don't come forward with their story because they don't see a lot of their stories out there. So I believe that like your podcast and like other people, like regardless of whether it's epilepsy or something else, like I feel like it's important to get your story out there.
Yes.
I get a little cute
And
cat.
it's beautiful. How cute. We're going to be, for our listeners, I'm going to attach all of her links to her social media. I highly encourage you, whether you are young, middle-aged, older, suffering with epilepsy, reach out and get a community of people. And like she's on all these social media channels, message her. She'll help direct you to something or ask her questions. She might have been through it and she might be able to give you suggestions on how you can go through it as well.
So for my content as well, I do like various things. I could do newsletters, like a lot of crime victims and all. And I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like those stories get not as heard of. Like, for example, Cheryl Rock or Liam Polanco, like their stories don't get barely heard. So I do hope, while my main purpose is content creating, I do want to, like, it's also important to spread awareness to where there's lack of awareness. Like, unfortunately, media also plays a part in a lot of this. So we do have to tell our stories a lot more. We do have to push ourselves a lot more. But as for the most part, like, that's also I want to also bring that up. Like, that's a part of the creativity. Like, I've always had this, like, creative to do multiple things. And I do want to spread awareness for multiple things. So, wow. And also with that being said, like, if you have a story of someone who was wrongfully unjust or someone who was a crime victim, like I'm willing to bring those stories up. Those are the stories I do want to bring up because those stories don't get heard enough.
Right.
And then hopefully if there is like an open case or closed case, like if a law enforcement ever listens, they can help solve a case.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Behind this podcast, the goal of my podcast and my vision for this chronic is to reach that one person. I truly believed you reached more than one, and I would love if I get these people reaching out to me, if I could forward them to you for you to reach back out to. I will certainly do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I also have an email called diary of epilestic@gmail.com as well. If you're uncomfortable with, like, because I know a lot of people always don't have social media either. So you can email me also, and I'll totally have no problem helping you there as well. Like, just like, I don't want people being forced to do social media. Like, I understand my content on social media, but you could totally just email me as well. Sometimes it's just more convenient.
I know, right? I'm that age bracket in between. So my kids are all high tech, and even my editor, he's high tech. So I'm like bridging the gap here. So
oh, thank you guys.
I know how to push record and stop.
Yep, that's all that matters.
But thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with me. I really, truly believe this is going to touch a lot of lives. Thank you.
I thank you so much for the opportunity, Cam.